water, right? Water. And now we press down. Remember that this is now a small ball of clay, so your hand is much, more powerful than a little ball of clay. When you have a black and great ball of clay, it's much more difficult to get it centred. One of the great experts in centering was a woman called Lucie Rie, who was absolutely minute, and she used to wear a smog, rather like we've got on, with an enormous leather belt, big wide leather belt, and she was known for taking this big leather belt out and looping it over an enormous piece of clay and just leaning into it, and it would centre the clay. Admittedly, she was a great expert. So you get these young lads who are sort of immensely strong, who couldn't centre the clay. This is at Goldsmiths, where she used to teach. And she'd just take the belt off and there we are, that's done. And, she weighed about 6 stone or something like that. I think it's very funny. Anyway, there we are. It's just about centred. We're just going to finish that off. Centre it. Now, how do we make the opening? Yeah? Do you remember? How do we open the top
thumb.
up?
Thumb.
Straight finger. Okay? Straight finger. Wet the straight finger. Put the straight finger across. It's not all the way there, but it's there. Okay? Got the idea? And then, if you haven't got the strength in the finger, you can just press down with the other hand and just press it down, and you'll see you'll make a depression, and it will already start to stick because that's now dry clay you're going into, so you can put a bit of water in there. Okay? And then you can do it again, and it goes down. Okay? Just remember, you don't want to go all the way down to the bat. And then you put your thumb in, other hand, and push it down. You can hold your hand however's comfy to you. There is no right way of doing this. There's an easy way to do it, and it depends how strong your hands are and so on as to how you're going to do it. How do you find out the thickness at the bottom of the pot?
With the potter's needle.
With the potter's needle. And we stop the top, because as you can see, it's still going around very, very slowly. So we don't want that, because it would make a slit in the bottom of the clay. So we push it in, then we push the finger down, take it out. That's 3/8 of an inch. That's perfect. Switch on again. There's a waterproof switch instead, so having wet hands doesn't matter. And then we put the thumb in, and we're not going to push it down any further, we're going to push it out. So we're going to push it out towards the other fingers, just to hold it in one place. That's right, that's fine. And by doing that, it makes a bit of a cylinder, and it's raising up the wall of the pot. And then we can wet our hands again and go down and do the same thing again, and we'll land up with a pot that's twice as high as it was. And that's how you make a cylinder. And if you start off with a bigger piece of clay, you can land up with a cylinder as long as your arm. And then how do we deal with this bit at the bottom now?
The bit at the top you take off with the...
Well, you can do if it's very wobbly, yes.
Yeah.
Otherwise we use the knuckles on the hand, on the right hand. Hand in here, that's vertical fingers, and knuckle on the outside with vertical fingers. And we just move the knuckles in. Can you say there, like that?
Yeah.
You just move them in, and just by holding the fingers on the inside, the clay has only got one place to go, and where is that? That's up. So the pot gets taller again. And we move both fingers, both hands, you see, are joined because I've got them together. And there we are. That's good. Now you can see the top of the pot is a bit wobbly. So we will now get the potter's needle and we'll take that off, just so that we haven't got a wobbly top. There we are, no wobbly top suddenly. Good. Now we want to make it into a bowl. So it'll be fingers on the outside. Whoops. This is all very, very quick. It will take no time at all. Fingers on the outside, fingers on the inside. Move the inside fingers outwards and leave the outside fingers where it is. And suddenly, voila, you have the beginnings of a bowl. that. If you put them back again and start again, with a little bit of pressure from the bottom, you get a slightly bigger bowl because you're moving up the thick clay, and you can do it again too. You mustn't go too thin, otherwise the thing will just go flop, which doesn't matter because it's just clay, so it's not wasted. And then to get the shape, what do we use? We use the rib. And the first thing we do is we make everything nice and wet, inside and out. Oh, sorry. It's a clumsy boy. And we put the rib at an angle so it doesn't dig in, obviously, hopefully. And then you do that. And it's all practice, Paula. I mean, that's what it is. Just practice. Gently, gently does it. That's it. That's all we want to do there. And take the top off again, and then we use the chamois leather to do our rim. Chamois leather. Fold it over and make sure it's wet. Nice rim, very good. Nearly there. And that's it. And now we get rid of the water in the bottom of the pot. Because if we left it there, it would just make the pot wetter and wetter instead of it drying off quickly. That's the point, obviously. And then we use this to get rid of a little bit of that clay at the bottom. And remember, this is not the end, this is the end of the throwing of this pot, but it's not the end of the treatment of the pot, because you can do all sorts of things when it's as hard as a piece of cheese, or leather hard as it's usually called, leather hard as leather, cheese hard, whatever you want to call it. And you can refine it much, much more then, because there's no danger of it going flop. But if you add too much water to it and it goes flop, you've lost the whole pot, and then you have to put it in a bucket and start again. So that's not too bad. There we are. And now we get it off using the potter's knife and throw it in the bin. Sorry, what am I doing? That goes off. There we go. It's a perfectly decent little pot. It's not particularly brilliant, but I mean, it's just a quick little pot, okay?